Hey everybody, my name is LaPrecious and welcome to my channel. Let's talk with LaPrecious. So, I'm sorry guys for the way that this looks because I know my lighting needs to be fixed. And I just don't know why my lighting is like this on this side of the room, but we're just gonna get it together for the time being. So, today I'm gonna be talking to you about guys about part two of Love After Lockup with Dylan and Heather. I know this is not like episode two, this is like episode maybe 14 or 15, but Dylan and Heather, they came really late in within the show. And one thing I want to say about this recent episode, it went by really fast. Like this whole episode is really an hour long, but it seemed like it was 30 minutes. I don't know why they rushed it like that. I don't know why it went by so fast, but it's like you could watch this episode like one time and that's it. It's like if you want to remember anything, you got to go back and replay it. So, anyways, besides that, I'm going to move on to the scene with Dylan and Heather. So, in this episode, Dylan and Heather are pretty much riding in the car on his way back from prison. And, Heather gives us the rundown that her apartment got flooded. So, she has to move in with her aunt and with her cousin. Now, Dylan, he was pretty much saying, I'm just ready to go ahead and go down to DMV to get my driver's license and my ID so I can go ahead and pretty much, do what I need to do and get my life started again. And she was like, okay, that's what we're going to do and whatnot. And then Heather is very head on Dylan paying her back. Like, are you going to take care of me? Are you going to do what's best for me and whatnot? And Dylan pretty much said in the confessional that once he gets himself together, that he's going to take care of Heather by helping her getting her nails done, hair, anything she needs, anything she wants. I know that this is just a TV show, and we don't really know these people that well. But to me, based on all the other prisoners that have been on this show, Dylan seems like the most genuine one, in my opinion. Because it's like what he says to her or what he says, like in that realm of things that he's with her versus what he says in his confessionals, it's like one and the same. But he does share his honest feelings about Heather and how she acts and also how she treats her family members. And I'm going to get to that later on in the episode review. So, moving along from the car scene, they pretty much go to her aunt's house where her cousin is. As soon as she came in, she pretty much brought Dylan in. Dylan was really sweet, really hospitable, really just nice and whatnot. Her aunt was funny to me, even though she was, an elderly lady on oxygen. She was funny because she was, patting Dylan up, talking to him and everything. And then the cousin was coming over there doing the same thing too. And you could tell Heather was getting really jealous and mad because she was pretty much walking around all fast and peeking out the bathroom or peeking out the bedroom door, like glaring at them while they was talking to Dylan and whatnot. And Dylan pretty much wasn't doing anything because Dylan pretty much said, this is my residency right now. My PO could pop in at any given time of the day, so I need a place to stay so that I can keep my butt out of jail. And Heather, I just felt like she has that, I don't know what you call it, but to me, it feels like she has built up resentment because she feels that since Dylan has been locked up for 5 years and she was pretty much there with him through it all, she feels like she deserves the utmost respect and attention more than anybody. But I mean, Heather, you got to think about it. Dylan is fine. And anywhere you bring him, anywhere he goes, he going to get attention from somebody. So I'm like, the jealousy, like you should have known that when you first started talking to him, because you're not the only one that think he fine. So of course he's gonna get attention from everybody that he's around. So I'm like, that's just a given, Heather. So I felt like she should have been understanding of that. She should have realized that from the beginning. But the second thing that I noticed with Dylan was that he was pretty much, greeting the cousin, greeting the aunt, shaking their hands and hugging and talking about his dad and how his dad is and pretty much. And I have a feeling that Dylan's dad might be famous because I saw on the phone where he pulled him up from like a Google search and everything. Now, on his Instagram page, Dylan does have a picture of him and his father like sitting on a couch. And it looks like a model pose or something. But yeah, I already knew what Dylan's dad looked like anyway. So yeah, so he pretty much was showing like his dad's picture to the aunt, And it was talking about, how spoiled that she's gonna spoil him, spoil him worse than Heather. And he was pretty much getting along with them. And then, Heather was getting jealous and she was saying, you could pretty much, just stay here with my aunt and with my cousin and just pretty much, stay here and talk to them. I need to go lay down. I'm sick and I'm not feeling good. And my what the thoughts that run through my mind when I see Heather in these scenes, you could tell she's on drugs. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Heather is a drug addict. And the whole thing about, oh, I'm sick, oh, I don't feel good, I just need to go lay down. Of course, she did that to get a rise out of Dylan, to get him to pretty much to get away from the aunt and the cousin. But based on how she looks and how skinny she is, and the whole, oh, my stomach's hurting, I need to go lay down, that's somebody dealing with withdrawal. Because usually when people are on drugs like that and they're going through withdrawal, they'll say, well, my stomach is hurting. I don't feel good. I need to go lay down. I know she did it as like an attention grabber, but it's obvious that she's on drugs. She is. She's on drugs. And I just don't see how Dylan didn't see that, since he said he used to struggle with drugs and alcohol himself. He probably did, but he didn't want to be rude or anything like that. But yeah, it's obvious she's on drugs. And so Dylan, if I was held, I wouldn't have got mad, because Dylan automatically got up and said, "No, I want to come with you. Like, I want to come and lay down with you and everything." And and I'm like, if I was able to garner that attention from him like that by saying, I'm gonna go lay down, whatever, and he's saying he's gonna come in the room and stuff with me, I'm like, okay, that's done deal. I got what I wanted. But she just made like such a big deal out of it, because she was pretty much saying, I want you to come in with me, I want you to just give me all your attention and whatnot. And then the cousin came behind saying, would you like anything to drink? Would you like anything to eat? And you could tell Dylan, he was trying to keep his cool, but he was trying to nudge Heather, like, come on, get your act together. You don't really need to be acting like that. Just give us some time. And she was just going like on and on, like, can I have any time with my husband? Like, Heather. And I think Dylan kind of nudged and kicked her in the room a little bit, because they didn't show that part. It's like she was just leaning in, and then she kind of got nudged in. I think he did kind of kick and nudge her into the room, because he knew the way she was acting was rude. Because he even said in the confessional, he says that he's kind of speechless that she's talking to them and treating them like that. He says that she should be grateful that she has extended family, because based on her history, what she told us about her mama, she pretty much got one of those ain't ish type of mamas, because she already said that her mom pretty much chose her boyfriend over her and sent her to that camp where she got raped. So of course, when it comes to immediate family, she don't have no contact. And Dylan was like, well, if you don't got your mom, at least you got your cousin and your aunt that's taking you in, and then they're even taking in your felon fiance and stuff. And so he's like, I'm speechless, because he said she's talking to them, and I would never talk to my family members like that. And a lot of women, and I hate to give out relationship advice, but I mean, I have to, because it goes on with the episode. A lot of women don't understand that when they act a certain way towards family members and friends and even people in restaurants, because I've heard this before too, men pay attention to that. I know you have a lot of mean women in the world. They got fine looking men, good men, all that kind of stuff, and they put up with it. I don't see how, and I don't understand it. But a lot of men, they do pay attention to how you treat your family members and how you treat people. And Heather was just mainly thinking about herself, yada yada. But Dylan, I feel like Dylan was kind of like taking notes on her while she was acting and talking the way she was. And he was probably saying, if she don't get her act together or get this thing together, I'm gone, because I don't got to put up with this. And so I felt like that's pretty much what he was thinking too. He was giving her a chance. And I believe that Dylan really did like Heather. And I just felt like Heather was just so crazy and erratic and just trying to get his all of his attention. She didn't really see that. And so the aunt was pretty much saying that you don't give anybody a chance to talk, and You don't pretty much, let anybody have a say. And she was like, I'm not finna get upset about this. And she said, I cannot go to the hospital. And the cousin was like, yeah, I know. She was like, because this is ridiculous. But at least the aunt told it like it was, because, nowadays a lot of family members, they don't believe in telling their people the truth at all. They let them flaunt and flaunt all over the house, bring anybody in there, will disrespect them to their face, and that's their house. And since they love them and care about them, they just let them treat them any kind of way. And I don't understand it. But this aunt, she had a lot of spunk. She was like, look, I'm not finna get upset. I can't go to the hospital. You don't let anybody talk or do nothing. And Heather was pretty much saying, well, it's about me and my fiance, and I want to be with him, and y'all don't need to be around him. But I am going to finish washing your dishes and everything. And I can't stand when people treat people like a dog and want to turn around and be nice. I'm like, what's the point? Because I feel like that's that narcissistic conditioning that a lot of people like to do, because they love treating people like dogs, and then they want to kind of mush them up and gush them up as if it never happened. And I just don't like that when people do that. But yeah, that aunt was pretty much saying you got nobody to blame but yourself. And I mean, she does, because Heather, it's like when you want to be a ride or die, you have to put up with stuff like that. Now, she said she ain't never had sex with Dylan. In some prisons, they do have beds where couples can actually have sex in jails. I don't know if they allow that in the United States. I think they do in some states and in some jails. I know they do it in other countries, but I'm not sure about here in the United States. So yeah, she was really adamant about sleeping with Dylan. I mean, who wouldn't, honestly? But that's besides my point. But she pretty much was really adamant about spending time with him and sleeping with him. But I mean, the aunt had a valid point. It's like you got nobody to blame but yourself, because you sat up here and was with this man for 5 years. It's like, yeah, y'all got engaged, and yeah, you was taking pictures with him and visiting him on the weekends and stuff, but that's something that you chose. Because my thing is, and it's the same way with Quaylen and his girlfriend that's trying to put his marriage and kids on him so much. My thing is, I don't understand how people on this show can sit up here and think that y'all have been in relationships with these people that have been in jail for 5 to 6 to 10 years, and not think that when these people get out, they may not want to be with you. Because I'm like, they're pretty much in a system where it's recess, lockdown, chow, shower, and it's the same thing over and over again. And people don't know that when you're stuck in one place for a long time, it does play on your psyche. That's with anybody. When you're oppressed, when you're under people, where you have no type of realistic freedom or any freedom at that, you get programmed into a system. But once you get out of that system and out of that space and that square, it's really hard for you to adjust. And some people, they're just so stuck on that chow down, recess, lock up, locked in, take a shower. Oh, you got to sit in the cafeteria, go to the yard. They get so used to that every day, they can't even handle real life. And that's why people go out, get out of jail sometimes, and they commit crimes so they can go back, because they just can't handle the difference between real life and being locked up in the cell every day. And so I'm like, I don't see how y'all can understand how these people gonna go from being locked up in prison, going with this oppressed system, to now they're free, and not think that they want to experience things they didn't get to in jail. But not only that, that they don't want to go back and try to get some stuff that they lost during their young years, because these people are young that's getting out of jail and this love after lockup. A lot of them went to jail when they was like 16, 17 years old. And like Dylan went to jail when he was 25 and he's now 30. So that's like 5 years gone from somebody's life. And people, and I hate to preach like this, but I mean, it is what it is. But people don't understand how precious life is when you live it outside of jail. It's like you have the chance to go to college, to go to school, to get jobs, to have a girlfriend, boyfriend, have kids and stuff. But when you get locked up for years on end, doing 5 to 10, it's different. You don't get to like pick up the phone whenever you want to, get on sorry, not MySpace. That's way out of this age, but get on Instagram. And in jail, I mean, they be living it up in jail because they be on Instagram and all that, but still, it's not the same. And it's like you can't go out and go to any kind of restaurant or concert or get a car or get a house or nothing like that on your own while you're in jail. And plus, you don't even get to have that much freedom over money or anything, because the only thing they can do is put money on your books for you to get toilet paper, for you to get utilities and all that kind of stuff. So it's like we as free birds or free spirited people, we take a lot of that stuff for granted. And I feel like a lot of these people that's choosing to be ride or dies for people in jail, they're not understanding it. Because it's like you're on the outside, you could do whatever you want to do, but they can't. And so I understand that Heather, she pretty much is seeing it from her point of view, but she's not really seeing it from Dylan's point of view. It's like Dylan has been in jail for 5 years. So, of course, he has a lot of catching up to do and just a lot of, things that he really needs to get picked up on and stuff. And so Heather is just like an erratic time bomb. She is like hot, mad. I'm gonna cuss everybody out for being close to my man. And then they just ended up leaving. And Dylan did the nice thing where he said, we're gonna leave, we're gonna have some alone time together, and then we're gonna come back. And at least Dylan is able to be the cool person to chill her hot head down in the whole situation because it's like, how dare you? It's like at least you do have family members that's willing to take you in and taking your felon boyfriend or fiance, like Dylan said, and let you stay here. And you just being so rude and mean and fussing and hollering and saying, "Get out the way," as y'all trying to pull out the driveway. And that's pretty much the end scene between Dylan and Heather in this whole episode. Because, like I said, they pretty much rushed it in with Dylan and Heather in this whole TV, not series, but season. It's like they're giving them like very little camera time. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because they want to save the best for last, or if it's really because, oh, hey, Lynn Coffee, or if it's because they really you know just don't really care about Dylan and Heather. And I hate it. I'm one of those people where I like really unique things that other people don't care about. And it's just unfortunate that when they show it on TV, you have those really unique couples or people, and it's like you care about them, but the networks and the channels be watering them down, downplaying them, cutting the scenes, chopping it up, and hardly want to give them any camera time. I hate that, but it is what it is. So. But yeah, so with Dylan and Heather, it's really interesting to see. And I just feel like in the next episode, they're pretty much going to explore Dylan and Heather. Because the only thing that I've really seen with Dylan and Heather is Heather just screaming at Dylan, like, "Get out the way, get out the car, you're getting on my nerves." Yeah, yeah. And I really do feel like that's the drugs talking because when Heather is in her confessionals, it's like she's very normal, very cool, calm, and collected. And even when Dylan got out of jail, she was like, "Babe," and then she just ran to him and hugged him, and then she was kissing him and stuff. And then it kind of got real creepy, but she was just licking him down like a dog. And and she was acting like a little wild puppy. They just saw its owner for the first time in like 5 years. So that's pretty much what she was doing. But it's like Heather really has some issues. It's like I can understand the whole mommy issue that she has with the way her mom did her when she was in jail. But it's like now, okay, she has a serious drug problem. Because like I said, you could just see it. It's like the erratic behavior, the yelling all the time, the being angry and upset, pushing somebody away that's trying to get close to you. And as soon as you're down off of your high and whatnot, it's like you're just mad at the world and just mean and just overly like zealous. And it's really sad to see this happen because my thing is, and who knows? I mean, Heather, she probably did have to find a way to cope because it when people are sexually abused, and this is the last thing I'm going to say before I end this video. When people are sexually abused like that as kids, it can really do a number on them. Because I've learned that whenever you're introduced to sex inappropriately or just abnormally, it confuses you because it's like you don't know what's the proper way to be touched, to be held, or to have sex. And that's why sometimes people that get sexually abused, they end up being sexually explorative or they end up being very promiscuous because it's like you're trying to fight that ill or disgusting feeling off. And so I don't know if Heather kind of went through that in like her teen years and whatnot. And I really don't know like where the drugs and stuff is coming from because, Heather could pop up on this video or pop up in the comment section say, I'm not on drugs or whatever. But it's very evident, like with her appearance and with how skinny she looks. And I mean, even when you see the different pictures of her with Dylan throughout the years, it's like she's just really gone downhill and become very fragile and frail. And I'm like, yeah, this is somebody with a problem. So yeah, and it's sad and it's very unfortunate that you could tell that her and Dylan could have really worked out. I don't want to be a spoiler, but I'm just gonna say they didn't make it. I mean, I talked about that in the first video, but yeah, to those of you who don't know, Dylan and Heather, they didn't make it. Dylan put a restraining order out on Heather, and it's actually online, and he has a new girlfriend. So yeah, so with Dylan, it's like, he's very mum, and whenever people ask him about it, people kind of ask him about it in a live that he did on his Instagram page. And I put his Instagram page in my description box on the other video that I did covering it. But yeah, he's not very like open about what happened, whether they're together or not. Cause I'm sure they probably made them sign like NDAs or whatever about what, because of course, they film these TV shows and stuff months in advance before they even air. So of course they can't really talk about the aftermath of stuff because it's gonna spoil and people don't want to watch it. But yeah, it's very evident. You can go on the internet and look, and I should go ahead and put the article in this in the description box about what happened. It's not, according to reports, they're not really reporting or saying what made him put the restraining order out on her. But I'm sure that's probably going to be discussed about later on in the TV show. Or who knows? I don't even know how long this season is going to last because they've had a lot of episodes of the season already. And since they went on like a little month hiatus, they're probably not going to talk about it, or they may just do like one of those update credits at the end, or they may go ahead and incorporate it. But I think that what possibly could have happened was that Heather probably just got maybe too erratic and probably even violent with Dylan. And he just probably couldn't take it anymore. He just went ahead and put a restraining order out on it and moved on. And I mean, you can just see that because, like I said, Dylan, he's very level headed. Dylan, he is just seems to be very astute, and I kind of find it shocking how somebody who's been in jail that long and somebody who's been pretty much a drug dealer. He said, "I've always been an entrepreneurial minded person." Or whatever. She scares me. I feel sorry for a sick aunt. Yeah, her aunt was like, I ain't having it. Like, I'm sick, I'm on oxygen, you ain't finna give me no heart attack. But yeah, like Dylan, he's very well spoken and he appears to be very like highly educated. I'm like, what you doing in jail? Like for real. I mean, like the way he looks in the confessionals, like hair gel back, face off, shiny and everything, like nice outfit and all that. And I'm like, how could somebody like that end up in jail? And I mean, anybody is capable of making mistakes and whatnot. But I just don't understand. I'm like, somebody who's that very well spoken and appears to be very educated and stuff, like get in so much trouble like that and end up in jail. And I've met a lot of people like that where these will be some of the most gifted and spiritually minded or in tune or just very smart and wise people and they want to act stupid and get in trouble so bad. And with the men, it's always the fine ones. And I'm like, why do y'all want to look good or already look good and whatnot and be bad? Like I remember going to school with guys like that. It's like they would be the most finest ones, the pretty Rickies or the pretty Ricardos or like the cool Corys and all that kind of stuff. And y'all know what I mean by these men, the boys in school that everybody want to be with or that you had crushes on and stuff. They be the main ones going to ISS, the main ones getting suspended, the main ones fighting and stuff. And then it's like when you would sit down and get to know them, they would be so smart and wise and just be well aware, but they just choose to get in trouble. And I just don't understand it. Like somebody who would look that good and be that attractive and not just be attractive or good looking, but also have the smarts and the wit and just choose to make dumb decisions like that. Like I don't understand it. So on that note, I will be watching, every time I'm about to say Love After Lockup, I want to say 90 Day Fiance so bad because 90 Day Fiance and this Love After Lockup stuff, it pretty much coincides because the 90 Day Fiance people and the Love After Lockup people, they're almost one and the same. Very crazy. The people don't know who they're dating or what they're doing. There's like an influx of different emotions and stuff like that, and it's just crazy. But yes, you guys, I will be continuing to watch Love After Lockup. I will continue to do reviews on Dylan and Heather, and I will continue to give you guys updates according to each episode and wherever it is I find online from doing research. So I hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to comment, leave a comment in the comment section, subscribe to my channel, but to also share this video. I want to up my shares, up my views, up my subscribers on this channel so that I can start making that money and everything. So yeah, so I hope you guys support my channel, continue to watch my channel, and continue to love me, and have a good night.